something that occurred to me the other day is that there are lots of advice videos about, what to do in relationships, what guys need to know about girls, what girls need to know about, well, there's not as many of what girls need to know about guys, but there's a lot of videos out there, but there aren't any for what to do when you're single. And so I've got some advice about being single, and I think it's good, but what can I say, I've got a lot more experience being single than being in a relationship, so it's right up my alley. So, my first piece of advice, and I've been thinking about this one since Valentine's Day, and it's because it has to do with Valentine's Day. My piece of advice is that just because someone asks you out on Valentine's Day doesn't mean you need to say yes. Honestly, I think it's really tacky when people ask people out on Valentine's Day, because then they feel morally obligated to say yes, and either way, if the person being asked doesn't want to go out with the person that's asking, then somebody's holiday is just totally ruined. Some people are just, so excited that somebody's asking them out that they don't stop and think, isn't this, a parrot? No, it's definitely a parakeet that just asked me out. Someone taught it how to talk. But that does bring me to the, oh, somebody likes me jitters. Because a lot of people will agree to go out with someone just because, they're excited that someone's asking them out and that someone's interested. But that's not always such a good thing. And I'm fortunate. Whenever I get the somebody likes me jitters, they've usually asked me out in a way that I don't have to answer them right away, like over the internet, or a friend asked them, or they passed a note to a friend to ask them out, or they asked and ran away. Didn't think I was that scary. But either way, you have to keep calm and think really, really hard. Do I actually want to date this person? If you think about it really hard, weigh the pros and cons, whether or not you're actually attracted to this person in the first place, then sooner or later you'll realize, yes, or no, And that's part of how I've been able to remain single for so long. A really big con is you're like, okay, this person likes me, but they're the only person that's liked me in a very long time. So no one else will probably ever like me, so I might as well just go ahead and jump in. That's a really, really bad idea. See me, I weighed 100 and plenty for most of my life. Right now, I weigh more than I ever have before. I tell you how much that is, but I have to kind of kill you a lot. But, suffice it to say, I weigh more now than I ever have before in my entire life. And I'm getting hit on and asked out more than I ever have in my entire life, so go figure. And, on the flip side, no one is too skinny to be asked out. Now, if guys are, into then they will probably be a little bit more hesitant if you're too thin, just because they're afraid of breaking you in half. But you don't have to worry about your size. As Yoda put it, size matters not. And he's right. So, another thing about being single is that as long as you're enjoying it, then there's always going to be people that are going to try and change that status. Because if people can see you happy, and they really like seeing you happy, then sooner or later, they're going to want you because you're so happy. Never mind the fact that as soon as you're in a relationship, you're probably not going to be as happy anymore. Think of it this way. When you're in a relationship, there are going to be times when you're watching a movie and there's going to be this really, really, really hot person on the screen, and you're going to be like, ah! But then you'll be like, oh, I'm in a relationship. I feel guilty now because I cheated with my eyeballs. Or if you and your buddies are wanting to hang out, but your significant other is having some sort of an emotional crisis. It's going to be, okay, but he's having fun, or significant other with an emotional crisis. And that's never fun. And then if you end up dating someone that's really, really, really psycho, then you're gonna go just as psycho sooner or later, because you're gonna be having to deal with the psycho, and then you're gonna imitate the psycho. And you think couples dressing matching isn't on purpose thing? No, it's usually on accident. You hang out with someone soon enough, you'll be picking up their same traits, and that's not necessarily going to be too enjoyable. Another good thing about being single is that you know that when you're getting dressed up and pretty, you're doing it for you. And you're not doing it for someone else. You're not going to be with someone else that's going to be like, hey, look at my gorgeous, or, yeah, that's mine, don't look. Okay. Another fun thing about being single is that you don't have to worry about embarrassing anybody but your friends, and they're used to that by now. But yeah, you don't have to worry about behaving a certain way when you're single. And when you're single, you can behave any way you want. When your friends are single, they can behave any way they want. And sooner or later, you find yourself running around Walmart dressed up like pirates and having sword fights with the cucumbers in the produce section. But another fun thing about being single is that you can approach people that would potentially be of interest of you and say absolutely anything you want, especially if they're perfect strangers. See, that is just awesome. You know, some people totally thrive on relationships. They really can't stand not being in one, and I think that's sad, because if you're putting all of your eggs in one basket thinking that you're not worth anything unless you're in a relationship, then maybe you should not be in one, so that you can find out how much better you are without these bozos dumping you, or you dumping them, because they're freaking you out. You find a lot of things about yourself when you don't have to focus on anyone else but yourself. Here's another thing. If someone goes to this really big effort to put some sort of a spectacular date for you, like they want to take you out to some fancy-dancy restaurant where you have to wear fancy pants clothes and you can't even pronounce most of the food on the menu, don't feel obligated to go out with them just because, you know, they've already made the reservation and everything, because then it's kind of like they're coercing you into it. And if they're going to coerce you into that, then you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to coerce you into something else too. Just because you're single doesn't mean that you have to go out with someone that asks you out, because if you're not compatible with the person, it's not going to last very long anyway, and then you've totally lost one of your friends in the process if him or her asking you out in the first place didn't already do it. Be careful, you know, never feel obligated. I mean, just, even if someone has done something really nice for you, don't feel obligated. Like, for example, if you did something like you stole the president's boxers and tried to sell them on eBay, and you totally got busted by the Secret Service, and someone sticks up for you and takes the blame, if you didn't ask them to do that, then you don't have to go out with them just because they ask you out. Besides, I'm pretty sure the president has plenty of boxers to where they're just blowing this out of proportion. If someone buys you something really nice and really expensive, that's what thank you notes are for, not thank you sexes. You know, also, if someone has, like, helped you with some sort of moral problem, you don't have to go out with them just because they helped you out. Or if you feel sorry for someone, that's a terrible reason to go out with them. Sympathy dating is the worst dating that you could ever do. Because, for one thing, they're going to know sooner or later that you're only with them because you feel sorry for them, and then they're going to be trying to manipulate you into staying with them even when they've definitely worn out their welcome. Like, they'll threaten to jump off a building or go swimming with sharks with a bloody toenail or something, and you're going to be like, no, he's going to die and it's all my fault. But it's not your fault. And frankly, if someone is going to be threatening to hurt themselves just because you won't do what they want you to do, then maybe you should let them hurt themselves so they can't try it on someone else. It's harsh, but fair. Anyway, I think I've gone on enough now, so I'll maybe see you again with another advice video, depending on whether or not I feel like it or anyone feels like watching. Bye!